Welcome back, everybody, to the good old Rocky Pod. If you're here, I'm not really sure why. You need to go to the doctor and get yourself checked. But this is one of our favorite things to do is talk about the Vols. This podcast is just here for the Tennessee fan, by the Tennessee fan. It is the podcast where we think and consider ourselves as good as the Tennessee defense. But after we watch our episodes again, we find out we're more like the Tennessee offense. So, with that being
Jesus.
said, welcome to Alabama Hate Week.
God.
Wow.
So guys, how
Ah,
how was your weekend?
Pretty good.
better than that, I think.
Yeah,
Though not from 7:30 till about the very end of the game.
Yeah, even then,
All right, let's start here. Let's go around. Like, how are we feeling? How are you feeling before the game? I know we kind of talked about it a little bit last week, but like going into Saturday night, right before kickoff, where was your butterflies in the stomachs? How was your mindset going into kickoff? And when did it change?
I didn't have like the typical big game butterflies or feels like I normally do, for sure.
I
And then
wonder why.
it quickly deteriorated. Like when Nico fumbled, it pretty much just stayed low from there.
Yeah, that's about it. I thought I was gonna buy the dip after Arkansas, and I did to a certain extent. And after the Nico fumble, I was selling all of my shares. I was stonks down, real sad face, arms folded, and then it kind of hovered in a certain place for a while, in that place for a while. But now stonks up.
What
But
about
you
you, Matt?
sold your shares.
I wasn't really scared until they tied it up at 17, to be honest.
You weren't
You weren't.
scared.
I w- Honestly, no. Like, I was mad. I was like, oh, okay, we're going to lose. But when they tied it up, I was like, oh, man, we're going to lose, aren't we? But before that, I was like, yeah, we're going to somehow win this game. I was like,
What was it that did it for you,
I mean,
Matt?
that
Was it
Florida
the
team's just probably the worst Florida team we've played.
and yet once again it was an exact replica of every single Florida game of our lifetimes.
Yeah.
They the games before they can't complete a pass, they can't run the ball. They have bad angles to tacklers. They can't get pressure on the quarterback. They can't do anything. And then all of a sudden, bam, 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 and we can't do anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
I'm kind of the same way. Like going into the Saturday night kickoff, I was kind of like, you know what? Like this is the Florida game. There's probably going to be some weird things happen, but I'm still really confident about just out talenting them, and like we're just going to win. Like this is the Josh Heupel era. It's different and all this kind of stuff. And that was kind of my mindset going in. And then that first drive happens. I'm like, oh snap, we're actually going to go down. We're actually moving the ball pretty well, and we're gonna score pretty easily here, and then we're gonna like we'll be off to the races, and we'll win by 14, 17, 20 points, and then the fumble. And I'm like, I wasn't totally like out, but I was like, red flag. Like this is Florida game here, Phil's, and yeah. Then at I was completely out when it was 0 points again at halftime. So yeah,
The fumble was a vintage Tennessee Florida moment, and the excruciating crunching in the gut at halftime was a vintage Tennessee Florida also feeling.
yeah,
The weird thing to me was that there were moments that were very much not Tennessee Florida moments in our favor, and I still didn't gain any like them fumbling at the 1 yard line. That doesn't happen in a Tennessee
yeah.
Florida game, and I still was like, it's not doesn't matter. Like I just didn't think we were going to score. So.
Yeah, and in classic Tennessee Florida game fashion, Florida would have gone for two at the end and just beat us.
Yeah, I cannot.
They thought about it,
Yes,
right?
there's
I think that they did what they wanted to do. I think they just faked it so we would burn a timeout to have less timeouts and less time on our game-winning drive.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
I
I honestly wasn't nervous. They missed that field goal in overtime. I was like, all right, yeah, we got this. We
Well, at
feels
that
like
point,
98.
That was 5 seconds before the game was over.
I know. but,
I will say
All right.
I appreciated Heupel's overtime strategy, which is very much different than most coaches who just run 3 times, set it in the middle, and try a field goal.
Yeah.
yes, but did you just not know Samson was going to drop the ball? It's like it just was building towards that for me. I love that we stayed aggressive. Don't get me wrong, but I felt in my guts that Tennessee Florida was going to happen again. That it didn't is that we won that kind of Tennessee Florida game is kind of astonishing to me. It's getting better and better and better as we get farther away.
Yeah. Yeah, I really think that and we'll get into like the technical stuff I think right here because there's some strategies and some decisions that we want to go over in the game, but the overall final thoughts on the feel of the game, I just feel like I wouldn't say it's a turning point in the series by any mean, but for me, like we just said, I feel like in years and decades past and coaches past, like we lose that game. You put in any other Tennessee coach we've had, and we lose that game. So, yeah, that's how I feel.
Luckily, there's a equalizer on the other sideline.
Yeah,
In this instance,
yeah. So, any other
I
final
mean,
thoughts on overall feels of the game coming out of the game?
thank God for Billy Napier.
All right, so I want to get into it.
Oh, but also,
Yeah.
yeah. If you want to go deeper, let's go.
Yeah, no. So I just want to go into some of the things that like really stuck out to me, and anything that stuck out to you guys, just pop in. But um, going for fourth down on like our own 10-yard line.
I love that.
I did not love that.
I mean, what do you got to
I mean, I like that we got it, but given
Chris?
how our offense was
Thought it was-
performing, I just even if we got it, I didn't think we were going to go 88 more yards and score. So, like, what's the point
Well,
of
you were-
going if? Yeah.
Yeah. I guess for me, and then we'll kick it to Matt after me. But like for me, I just think that like yeah, hindsight 2020, we got it. But in the moment, I was just thinking like, you know what? I kind of like this. I I don't know if this happened or not. We don't have a sideline source, but I would like to think that Heupel got the guys together and was like, yo, like this is the season. Like go get a couple of yards. Here's the line in the sand. If we don't get this, we definitely lose this game. We're probably going to lose a ton of games this season, and this program is going to go downhill. Offensive line, go block and get a couple yards and prove yourself. That's what I would hope that was said, but that's kind of how I took it. What about you, Matt?
I mean, the game is just played like old school NCAA online games. Like, go for it on fourth down, scramble your quarterback out, exploit anything and everything you can during a game. So, I didn't mind it one bit. I was screaming, go for it. I knew we would get it. I mean, they're not going to stop us there.
Yeah,
so.
you knew it.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Felt it.
I did love the formation, though. That was a beautiful formation.
Yeah.
I do love the Jackson Moy formation. We need to utilize that a fair amount more going forward.
Yes.
It honestly felt like a cry for help from me. We were bleeding out. We were quietly we were just suffering badly, and some kind of a grand gesture needed to be made, some kind of a line in the sand moment. And at the moment, I was like, I don't give a shit anymore. Just do it. Go for it. See what happens. Let's see if we have the guts to stay in this game.
Yeah, that's what it was. I loved it.
And
then we
it kind of
proceeded.
go ahead.
I'll say we proceeded to throw an interception and then give up a touchdown out of halftime.
That's what I was about to
don't know
say.
how much of a line in the sand it really was, but
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was about to say. Like in the moment, I feel like it was a line in the sand play, but then like what 2 or 3 plays later, we just throw a pick and it's like whatever. But yeah. So any you guys got any like specific play or situation or decision that kind of stuck out in your head that you just want to unload on for a second?
That interception, like what? Just threw it straight into triple coverage.
Yeah,
Like there wasn't like anything for that ball to fit through.
and he stared him down the
Yeah,
entire.
like, that was, oh man. I don't
I will
know.
say, after watching it again on Sunday, I
Yikes.
feel a bit better about how it went than I did on Saturday. Like I I do think the offense was closer to being good than it was at Arkansas. We just didn't make the plays that were there, but I don't know. I feel like we were a little more creative offensively. People were open, or and we made some plays that got called back, stupid penalties and crap. But
I mean, what? I don't know. At this point, like I'm tired of hearing, "Oh, it's so close. The open guys are there. Oh, we just need this or that." Like, I can't stand to go on Twitter for the first 3 days after the game because it's just like, "Oh, look at this play. Like, if this block had went differently, or if Nico just looked this way, just slightly." Like, I'm sick of it. Like, you either do it or you don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. If it's not clicked yet, I don't think it's gonna click. Like,
I disagree.
I'm
okay, well,
What do you get, Chris?
I'm sort of with you, sort of not with you. Copium doesn't ever really feel good. Now we had the Cole Kubelicks of the world getting out there and saying, no, 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 it's not the scheme. It's just a little left and a little right. It's a little too far or a little too far behind. And he more or less said that is the reason why we like the big plays are there, guys are open, they're everything should be working. It just isn't.
man, it's not been all
I don't
year. Like,
Uh,
what?
I mean, yeah, it sucked the last 3 games, but like, I know Chattanooga and Kent State suck, but Nico was accurate in those games,
Yeah.
and so he at least he can do it.
Yeah.
But
I have a theory. I've said it before, but not on this show.
On your other podcast?
In our communications with each other, and I'd like to talk about it a little bit. First few games, basically no pressure on Nico. Elite throws, elite. Just everything is elite. He's accurate. It's a just great velocity. He's looking around well. He's seeing very clearly. It looks like it's the kind of thing that transfers to higher level play. Then in the Oklahoma game, it's the first real defense that he's gone up against, and he starts getting hit. And the offensive line's problems really start to manifest. And he keeps getting hit.
Yeah.
And he keeps getting hit. And he keeps having to run around. And more as the line has become a problem, you can see like it's just as through the Arkansas game and through the bulk of the Florida game, it's just getting worse and worse and worse as he keeps taking hits, as his protection completely breaks down, as he's forced to run, to scramble somewhere, and so often it seems like he's just doing it out of some kind of pure instinct because it's not smart. He's scrambling into the waiting and loving arms of a defender. I think that there's like a compounding
Yeah.
effect that is taking place with him, and it's just we have to get him protected.
Yeah.
Something has to happen on the offensive line. I don't know. You put tight ends in. I don't know what you do. Bring in another running back. You just give him a chance because you're correct, Caleb. He makes the throws. He can make the throw, but in his mind, he has all the tools, but his mind is scrambled, frazzled, rattled, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I,
And it's just very apparent. And I want to know how. I want to find some hope in the thought that he can get out of that in some way.
I think that's a good segue to open up this topic that we have, and this is going to be for the table. And this is where we're going to introduce our new segment of this week. And we might bring it back, we might not, but for this week, we're going to introduce this new segment and says we've got a source. So that's this segment title is we've got a source, and we
do not
have a source, or
Scott.
we might not have a source. You'll never know. So we might have a source, we might not have a source. But we have a source on campus that is saying that the coaching staff is a little concerned about Nico kind of shutting down mentally on the field of play due to the lack of hits he took during preseason camp and fall camp. And that, like what Chris was kind of alluding to, is that he was doing good. Like he's a 7-on-7 guru. He's an amazing quarterback on 7-on-7. He did good in the first couple games. NC State was whatever. And then he goes to Oklahoma and he gets his first big hit. And he's like, yo, that's the first time I've ever got hit in my life like that. That wasn't fun. And my offensive line sucks. And I start getting happy feet. And every time the ball snaps, I'm running for my life. And in my head, I think I'm about to get killed. And he just stopped processing plays. And I feel like that's true from what I've seen on the field. So, what do you guys think about this? Let's go around the table. Let's kick it off with old Caleb. What do you think?
Uh, I think there may be some half truth to that. I think he's definitely processing things slowly. Now, I don't know that I believe that's because he didn't get hit in fall camp. I just think there's a difference between a game and practice. It's just high pressure, and the defenses are throwing unique looks at you that you probably haven't seen before, and he just doesn't have that much experience, so things are moving slowly. So I think that part's true. I don't know if I buy if he would have been hit in camp, then he would be better, but I don't know.
Gotcha. Matt.
I think he's just waiting to sign the insurance policy. I think it's in the mail, got sent to UTM or UTC. They said, "Oh wait, you're UTK. Okay, we'll send that right over." And so yeah, he's not playing until he signs that insurance policy. Not playing well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that from a source, Matt, or?
Good journalist.
We got a source. That is the segment. You got a source on that?
Yes, I do.
There you go.
Can't
In honor of Roger, we should call it. Do you have a source for that?
No, Tom.
That's what it's going to be called every week from now on. All right.
R.I.P. Love.
Chris, you brought up. Do you have any final thoughts on that topic since you kind of kicked it off?
No, Caleb's right to a certain extent. I don't know that extra hits through fall camp would have really changed anything all that much. But something you said that I didn't realize, that he's playing his 20 something game of football all time.
Yeah, I think I heard this. This is weeks ago. I think when me and you were talking offline on the phone, it was something like the NC State game was only his 16th or 17th game ever starting football. So yeah.
Really a volleyball player.
Yeah, so I think I think that I don't know if it's 100% true because we do have a source, but it looks like it's true. But also on the positive side, I don't think he's as good as we thought he was going to be, but I don't think he's as bad as we're fearing he is. I think this is just like if we took off the Nico like PR superstorm that happened before he actually took the field, and he was just a Joe Smo freshman that just came on. I think he's playing really well for just your average Joe freshman. And as he gets more reps and as he gets the Watson Brown pressure reps, he's just going to improve and it's going to get better. And the game is just slowing, just too fast for him right now. And as the game
It's
slows
too,
down, I think he's going to get better.
I think
Um,
that's a really good point. I mean, it's kind of our fault because last year we sat through that Joe Milton offense, and then it's like, oh, Nico is going to play in the bowl game. Like, oh, okay, thank God, offense is going to look somewhat like it did 2 years ago or 2022, and then it didn't really. And they're like, oh, that's okay. They got a whole off season, whole preseason to get ready, and still, it's just like, what? Where is that? Like, why don't we have that?
yeah.
I think that's really, really, at least for me, it's really messed up my expectations and everything.
Yeah, there have been two straight seasons now of completely mismanaged quarterback
Yeah.
expectations.
Yeah.
We keep, yeah, so it's not really our fault because it's what we were told. So we're having the nice mental fatigue of the come down. The dopamine is wearing off, and we're facing some hard reality. But you're not wrong, Kyle. I don't think. I don't. I see no reason to believe that he won't, even in this season, rise to some level of
Yeah.
uh, what's the word I'm looking for?
And I
Serviceability.
think like for me, I think I might have mentioned to somebody here, but like I've kind of had this sneaking thought in the back of my head that's a good thing. That's like because he didn't come out as the god of all QBs and just tear it up and like we're number one and we're going into the playoff, as a top four seed or whatever. Um, Nico is for sure not going to the NFL draft next year. Um, and he might be here for 3 years. And that like just steady progression means we can build some like long term chemistry. And he's not just like a Dalton Connect one and done where we're like, man, if we just had Dalton Connect for 2 years, this team could have been like really better, like really really good. Um, but yeah, so any
That
final thoughts
that
on
first
that
half
or the
of
Florida
the
game?
that first half of the Chattanooga game really didn't help him for this season. 300 yards and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah, that.
Yeah,
I,
Uh,
my final thought is he's clearly making freshman mistakes,
yeah,
but I do think he made quite a few more plays Saturday than he did against Arkansas. This is going to sound like copium, but like on at least three deep balls that I can think of off the top of my head, he was pretty close to on the money,
yeah,
and there was either a non-called PI or our receiver dropped it, or I mean the one on the last drive. It was an amazing throw and catch, and it barely got pushed out of bounds in the air. I mean, that was a great throw. So I really don't think he's too far off from being pretty okay.
yeah. Chris, final thoughts on Florida?
I'd like to ask something. Is the defense how legit, in your opinion?
Mm,
We still have not really faced a team known for moving the
and
ball.
when will we? That's my next
And
question.
perhaps, but we are pinning a lot of hopes going forward on maybe the offense will get better and we have an elite defense. We think we do. We might. What's your gut telling you about that?
I
I
think
think
we
we
have
have an
an
elite defense.
Yeah,
Like an actual
like it
championship
may
style defense.
it may not be the best defense in the country, but I think it's top 10, and that's good. Yeah, that's good enough to win a title.
We've not
Yeah.
had that letdown. Like, even though we've not played the best offensive teams, but NC State, that team was pretty much geared to have some offense. Florida, I mean, yeah, they're not that great, but Graham Mertz is not a terrible quarterback. They still have SEC caliber talent. Like, they can make plays. And what's the most points we've given up on the year? 19? Like, come on.
Yeah. Goes back to my I think I told on the phone with Chris preseason, I was like, I think if we scored 24 points a game, we're going undefeated. And I think that's still true. If we would have scored 24 points, we'd be undefeated right now.
That
Um,
is
so I think that for me the defense question is like I still unsure about I'm unsure about how the Peely injury is going to affect us moving forward. I do like what I see out of McCoy at cornerback. I'm still kind of unsure about the other DBs, but when it comes to our defensive line, I'm very pleased. Yeah, there's some gaping holes sometimes for them to get big chunks and run. But when it comes to third and short, and definitely fourth and short, I pretty much am confident that we're going to stop the team from running on third and short and fourth and short.
I think I agree with you. I'm growing to like the DBs a lot more.
Yeah,
Like teams are still finding guys in the zone against us on third and long, but by and large, they are finding a way to. They just look so much more aggressive.
yeah. Was it Ricky Gibson that did the track around and like do the fourth down stop?
Yeah, it was him.
That was a really good play.
He's good. I
Ricky
like him.
Gibbs, Boo Carter.
Yeah,
I think
Like it feels like
McCoy might be the best corner. Like I think he might be better than Cam Sutton. He's been the best corner we've had in like a
yeah,
yes.
long time. Like I don't. He's played amazing. Like even against Arkansas, they hit a few shots on him, but had excellent coverage.
yeah. No, yeah. I think there's a couple times. I think even when like the Arkansas did hit a few on him. I think Herbstreit was on the call, right? Like he said, like, yo, that was just an amazing pass and catch. Like you can't do anything better than what McCoy just did.
Yeah, I'll be curious. I don't know anything about defense, but hopefully they can line him up on Ryan Williams the
Yeah.
entire game.
Is that the 17-year-old boy?
All right, Matt, what's your final thoughts on Florida?
Just glad we won. I hate Florida. Hate that Gator script.
Nice, good job. Caller Matt from Halls. Throwback. All right, everybody. This is what you really came for. Is now we're going to transition to the game of the week, the third Saturday in October. It is officially Alabama Hate Week. So let's just kind of kick off this by just saying, kind of the same way we started with the Florida game. What's your overall feels going into this game? What are you just thinking about? What's your gut feeling saying? Chris, let's kick it off with you.
Just another big time top 11 matchup in Knoxville.
Go by the coaches poll this week. So we're
Dude,
going
what?
by the coaches poll this week. We're 10th in the coaches, I believe.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's good. That's good to know. I feel like we are going to the game. Had we not beaten Florida, and I did not have some thought that we could hang, I would have politely declined Caleb's ticket offer. But I think it's going to be kind of more of the same for a bit. My hope is that at some point in the game, whatever Vandy and South Carolina have done to Alabama, we can do too.
Yeah,
Caleb?
I heard a stat today that was like, I think it was each of Alabama's last three opponents has pretty substantially outperformed their season average, like offensive efficiency against Bama. It's like even the terrible teams did better than they normally. Like South Carolina is awful on offense, but somehow played better against Alabama. So I don't know. I think it's like Chris said, I think it's going to be kind of like the Florida game. It's going to be a dogfight, probably. Maybe I don't know. Is dog the right word?
Maybe maybe two dogs with that have two legs apiece.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't
Two,
agree when
two back legs.
Urban Meyer says it's a heavyweight prize fight. I'm like, I don't know about all that.
Well, I
Come on,
mean,
dude.
I kind of think. I mean, he's partially right. I mean, pretty much everybody sucks. It seems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, I I just think there's a lot more parity than there was 2 or 3 years ago. So,
definitely.
all right.
Matt, what do you think? Phil's going into the game.
I have zero confidence that we can win this game.
That's new for you.
I,
That's new.
it is. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, this is kind of the perfect matchup for both teams. I don't want to say perfect, but the strengths and weaknesses just do not line up at all. So it's just like two rams on the side of a mountain just headbutting each other. Like,
That's even better than the dogs. That's what
I
you
mean,
should have went with,
it's
Caleb.
like this it could either be like the ugliest game or just like kind of a repeat of 2022 where it's just like, okay, whoever has the ball last is going to win. And I'm leaning towards the former, but yeah, I just can't see us winning this game. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
I think-
6. That's why I'm so negative.
I think for me, my feels going into the game is I can see anything happen. I don't think now again, this is probably going to change when we come back next week for our podcast, but as of right now, I don't think there's an outcome that will surprise me. Like I can see Tennessee blowing them out, Tennessee winning closely, Alabama blowout, Alabama winning closely, or something in between all four of those options. I was thinking about it. I was talking to somebody on the phone today about it, and I was just like, I literally can't think of a scenario that would surprise me coming out of this game.
Which
Um,
scenario do you think is the most likely, though?
I don't know. I mean, I feel part of me kind of like I feel like them Vandy just doing what they want on the Alabama defense was jarring, and South Carolina kind of doing that too. I mean, South Carolina hits a 2 point conversion. Alabama's coming in on a 2 loss like streak. So I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I don't know what to feel. So
A blowout would surprise me either way. I just be honest there, man. I don't see any way that I mean if somebody's blowing someone out, it's them.
no, I mean,
We're more talented than they are, and they still that as good as McCoy is, and I'm sure he'll be on him. Now they held him to like 30 something yards. South Carolina did, but the Milrow that played Georgia still exists, and that Ryan Williams from that night still exists. And I've still pretty well got it in my head that we don't have like Milrow is kind of herky jerky every now and then, especially when he gets pressured, and I do expect us to pressure him. That's my main hope going into this one.
I
But
mean, what? Sorry.
no, go ahead, please, man. I'm rambling.
When we beat them 2 years ago, like, let's not forget that was Bryce Young played about a perfect game. Jahmyr Gibbs, we couldn't stop that guy either. Like, I mean, if that Alabama shows up, yeah, it's different players, whatever, different coach. We just don't have what we need to go into a shootout with them again, I don't think. Unless our close offense, you know what?
what do you think, Caleb?
I don't think Bama's. I think we're going to force enough negative plays to where they're not going to just put up 40 on it. Like I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
In
I'm totally not expecting what I'm about to say to happen. Okay, so don't get me on predictions or anything. But I do see a scenario that could happen is Tennessee's offense just kind of starts clicking. Again, going back to last week, We probably threw what, 4 or 5 long balls. We hit one, we win in regulation. We hit two, we win pretty decently. We hit 3 or 4, we're blowing Florida out. And I think it might be a thing like that this week where we're going to throw the ball down the field maybe 3, 4 times. We hit them, we win. We don't, we're in another game like we were last week. And I just feel like the odds of us clicking on offense versus their defense is better than their chances of clicking on offense versus our defense.
I agree. Let's go. Okay, I'm coming. I'm coming around now.
I like that, Kyle. Although I think our ability to hit those chunk plays is going to be contingent on us doing what Vandy and South Carolina did, which was on the ground, big sets, or just success running the ball.
Yeah, and our best player right now is Dylan Sampson, who runs the ball.
Now I'm back to
Yes,
Alabama's going to do the 3-2-6 or whatever bullshit, and we're just not going to do anything all game. So, thanks for that, Chris.
yeah.
Chris's disposition is Negavall.
Yes.
Yeah.
When there's reason to be. I think that we can run the ball against them, but our offensive line in run, like, it's definitely better in run blocking than it is in pass coverage. But
What?
it is Alabama. A weakened Alabama, but it's still Alabama.
Can we talk about this and like,
Please.
what is Lance Hurd's deal? Like, I'm not trying to knock the guy. Like, it's the strangest thing I've ever seen, I think.
I think it's okay to say we can knock the guy.
I don't want to. I mean,
Well, no,
he came here. He
feel-
wanted to come here. Like, yeah.
No, somebody mentioned it the other day on some podcaster show I was listening to. Was like, we're in this new NIL era where they're legit making hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. The times of them being the student athlete and student first and protect the kids, that's gone. Like, bro, we brought you in as a big time NIL recruit. We're putting money on top of the table for you to play. Dog, it's time for you to play.
He is a
That's a me take.
He's a
He's a
mercenary.
VFL.
Is he mad that his cousin or whatever's not playing? Like, what's the deal?
He looks out of shape to me, like he didn't practice.
That's what I thought. But then on that Sampson run, he's just beating Sampson down the field, making that block. Like,
Okay, can I say a word about that play?
yeah,
I have heard people mention that all week on talk shows and on Twitter. I didn't think it was an amazing play by Lance Hurd. He literally didn't block anyone until he got to like the goal line.
but
He was
he's the pulling guy though. So
Well, I know, but like he didn't even really have to make that block for the score. Like
could
don't
have ran to the sideline.
I
And
want to see him drop a few steps back in pass protection and someone not run around him before I declare.
Yeah, and also on that final play, on the third replay, I just thought that Dylan Sampson clearly got into the end zone, like he was running like. But then on the third watch of the replay, I was like, oh snap! Like he was like stopped at the goal line and kind of like barely got across. So the offensive line push wasn't that great.
No.
Unless they had Jackson Moy opening holes.
boy, imagine
You know what,
Elijah Simmons out there.
I was thinking that I missed the 2022 play that we ran like 3 or 4 times a game, where Hooker would like take off this way, but then do the shovel pass back to Princeton Fant like up the middle. I missed that play.
Against
I don't
NC
remember it.
State, didn't we run something like that?
Was like, like Hendon Hooker would set up a shotgun, Princeton Fant right beside him, and it was almost like a option shovel pass.
H option, yeah.
Yeah. And like they got it from Mahomes and Kelsey run it all the time.
I missed that 2022 offense. Where is it?
Yes. I missed.
Who was the kid, the dancing kid? What was his name? Like Chris Cagle or something?
Yeah, it's like Caden Kagels or something.
Yeah,
Which is the most Tennessee name ever.
when they first showed him, I was a little upset. Um, not at him, but it's just like, okay, I don't need to see this right now. Like, I don't care. Then I was informed, it's like, oh, the whole stadium wants him because our fans are. That's another story. But then he's making his media rounds. What would you tell Hop? I'll tell him open up the playbook. Tell his offense coordinator to open up the playbook. I lost it.
Yeah.
I was like,
What's wrong with that, Matt? Don't you want to open up the playbook? Didn't we just discuss opening up the playbook?
gosh, this is like there are like 10 of these calls to Tony after every game where it's just somebody's wife or kid is sitting there talking about whatever their dad wants to say or their husband wants to say. Hey, call Tony and tell him to get Halsley to open up the playbook. Yeah.
He definitely had his dad's.
I was just like, goodness. Oh, man. I couldn't after that. I was like, okay.
I do want to know, like, Caleb, I know you were at the game. Was anybody else at the game?
About 102,000 others, I think.
Well, what I'm just curious, like, I've seen this on Twitter, TikTok, and IG, where they're saying people are actually like, yo, that showing the kid on the thing actually changed the game.
I don't know about change the game, but it was about the only fun thing that had happened.
Oh, what? Every other tweet to Danny White is, Danny, can we do this on this down and this half? And can we wear this color? And can we change that song between the third and the fourth quarter? Hey, Danny, it'd be really cool if for like Halloween we could do like smoky gray and orange and like. Oh, shut up, you
Matt,
idiots.
I have a suggestion.
What?
Why don't you stay off of Twitter?
It's my For You, okay? I'm sorry. My following is not that great. My For You is just Vol Twitter hell. It is Vol Twitter hell, and I hate it.
What do you want our fans to do? What's your ideal fan?
Go and cheer. Wear orange, wear white, go and cheer. Stop with this nonsense. God,
Well, don't wear white this week.
Yeah,
they did that.
Yeah, orange out this week.
Because now we're in the part where every single game in my NCAA 25 dynasty we're checker kneeling. Why?
Why not?
Because it's cool, but
Okay, it's cool, but
why are we making this about what we can do? Like, we already established this the NIL area, okay? How many recruits said, wow, I want to go there because they had one section white and one section orange. They said, no, oh my God, that place was loud. How much money are you going to pay me? Okay, good. It's not about that garbage anymore. They said, oh, they played Morgan Wallen before the fourth quarter. I'm so excited. Good God. Just get rid of all the seats. Just make it a 20,000 seat amphitheater and let's get over with it. I'm sick of it. No offense to any of you fans, but good God. It's about the Vols.
Matt, you want to come to the game Saturday? And
No.
How you
I don't want to be around these people. No. Give it to a Bama fan.
I will say one reason it was loud Saturday was there were no Florida fans there, which was very odd. My conditioning was anytime something bad happens, doom, 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 with there was no from the Florida section.
Yeah.
At least it's what it sounded like on TV.
Yeah, I was just curious because, like, literally the narrative that I've been seeing all over social media is the vibes are really down. The team was down. The crowd was down. The kid shows up on the jumbotron, electrifies the fans. Then the team starts getting energy and playing better.
Well, see, now Matt's mad that they yelled. People were cheering.
Where'd the kid come from? How'd they find him?
They were doing one of those really stupid timeout things where it's like a dance cam or something, and they had shown a couple other people, and then they showed the kid, and people went wild.
A dance cam during timeouts.
Well, it's like 7-minute timeout.
Do they not show UT Medical Center commercials like they used to?
They have one, yeah.
They had one.
Check the stats.
What are we doing?
Any first commercials?
Got little
What?
spotlights going down on the fans.
And
Shooting bottle
that is
rockets.
that's a great segue into another first for our podcast is our doing business and shouting out our sponsors. We have our first sponsor of the podcast, and we just want to thank Mr. Beast from YouTube
Oh
for
God.
sponsoring the podcast. And I'm just going to say Mr. Beast as much as possible. And I even put on one of his hoodies, Mr. Beast,
Why do you
because
have a
hopefully
Mr. Beast hoodie?
because I just got it. I just got it. Because I'm going to say Mr. Beast a few more times because the YouTube algorithm is going to hear us say Mr. Beast and then pump this video. So that's the idea of the sponsored by Mr. Beast segment. So in honor of this new Mr. Beast sponsorship segment, who is going to be your Mr. Beast of the game?
Caden Slagle or whatever his name is. I don't know.
So is this different than pick to click or the
Yeah,
same?
yeah, it's different.
Different.
Beast of the East. What's it called? Mr.
Who's your
Beast.
Mr. Beast? Just guy that's just gonna go out there and manhandle something.
Well,
I want to say my beast of the week is Omar Norman Lott.
great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy. Wait, for this week? For the Bama game?
Yeah, Chris, what do you
okay.
think?
I'm going to go Bryson Eason. I think the linebacker situation. Well, he's not a linebacker anymore, but he's going to. He was kind of in that linebacker role type during the Florida game. Just critical tackle on that swing pass and in
What a
overtime
play.
to knock the Florida guy back.
What a play that was.
Incredible.
Split two blockers. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Matt,
And
who's
also-
your beast?
I'm gonna go ahead and say Jalen Smith.
Jalen Smith.
No, Jeremiah T-Lander. That's my dude. I'm going him.
Man. So I was thinking about old T-Lander because he's the signal caller now, right, on defense? I think he's wearing the green helmet.
I thought you
for
said
the
Aaron
audio.
Carter was.
No, I think I saw something that said
It might
T-Lander was
be.
going to be wearing the green helmet.
I mean, he was great last year. I like him.
No.
I make an addendum. Sure. On the offensive side of the ball, Mike Matthews.
Okay, I
Nice.
feel like that's more of a pick to click than beast of the week.
Interesting take.
Why, Chris?
I suspect that that Heupel's mentioned it this week, and I suspect he's going to get his shot.
Heupel's mentioned it. Yeah.
I like it. But yeah, let's make a ruling right here and now. Let's just say for fun, our Mr. Beast pick of the week is on defense, and then our pick to click is offense.
Okay, I like it.
Fair.
There's
Yeah. So that's what we're going to. So we'll do our offensive pick to clicks later. You can keep Mike Matthews or change it if you want. But I think my Mr. Beast of the week is, for whatever reason, I just feel it, is our amazing linebacker, Aaron Carter. Just feel like he's going to have a game. I almost went with a great white safety, but
I thought about it too.
yeah, I just feel like he's going to make a big play. It's going to be something like, oh man, he's the white safety makes an amazing play in the Tennessee-Alabama game. I just feel like that's going to be a storyline.
Just like Bear Bryant intended.
Jesus. But yeah, I think mine is going to be Carter on defense. I almost went Boo Carter, but I think he's just not there quite yet.
That's your
yeah.
boy.
Yeah. What's the thing that he says before the every game, like belt to ass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
A B2A. Thank you.
Yeah.
Caleb, don't
anyway.
agree with that.
All right, boys, let's think about anything like schematically, schemes, decisions, strategies, position groups, or players that we want to kind of like break down for a few minutes in this game. Anything coming to mind?
I think that Alabama's trenches, their offensive defensive line, I don't think they are nearly as good as they have been in the past decade. So, I mean, the more we talk about this, the more I'm working myself into we got a chance to win this.
If our fans can show up and yell, I think I agree with
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah.
Caleb, what you
Make
got?
sure
What
you
you got
look.
your
You
eye
didn't
on?
get any mustard on your little blouse before you scream, please.
Uh, I don't. I don't know. I'm looking for. I just am curious if we're gonna make any change, like slight scheme adjustments on offense. I still want to see more of the big sets and take our chance with play action out of that rather than try to spread it.
Hmm.
It's just not working. So
Yeah, Chris.
I'm very curious to see how when we have our chances to throw, what Alabama's secondary does.
Yeah,
Are we going to be able to get open? Are we going to be able to get hands on the ball, bring it in, and get the yards? Too many drops. Is Nico going to be in the position to place it there,
yeah,
as we see
yeah.
he's capable of doing? And are we going to be able to hold up against? It's not been great defenses that have been getting to him. And Alabama's not a great defense, but I think they're still going to get to him. Are we going to, if nothing changes, will we be able to do that?
Yeah, I agree with that take, especially. But I'll take it one step further. I guess is like I do fully expect Nico to get pressured and Nico to get sacked, and our pass protection to suck. So, but I do think we're going to get off 3 to 5 long balls this game, and this game is going to really hinge on if we complete 2 or 3 of those 5 chances down the field. Which brings me to my highlight of this game. I think there's a big impact is going to be our offensive line run game versus their defensive run stopping ability. Because when I watched that Vanderbilt game, we might not even have to run. If we might not even have to throw the ball if we can run anywhere. And I'm like, if Vanderbilt can run the ball like that, like hopefully Dylan Sampson can run the ball like that. Again, it's going to really rely on can our offensive line create run lanes for Dylan Sampson and Bishop too. I'm really liking the way Bishop runs.
I think the lesson from the Vandy game was that Diego Pavia is a wild card and creates mismatches with his legs. They were constantly having to scheme around and figure out what is this wild man going to do. So far, Nico has not really demonstrated the ability to scramble like that. He has I'm sure he can,
Yeah.
but when he's done it, it's been a deliberate rollout or he's rolled into someone.
Yeah, I
Or
really
they
do
flag.
like that.
He's
You go ahead, Caleb.
I was gonna say, or there's a flag thrown on the play. Every 20-yard run he's had is pulled back.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like we're having very like untimely penalties. Where we like
also,
every time we do have a pretty decent positive play, it's a holding. So
it happens more against us and doesn't happen to our opponents than anyone.
yeah, and anybody that's watching this or hears this and like, oh, that's just them complaining. I Here's a couple of things too. Is like some of the holding calls that I've seen, not just been like borderline should they call or should they not call, but yeah, they were clearly holding, but they didn't affect the play at all. It was like the hold was over here, the play was over here. There's a couple times the holding actually produced the great play, but there's a lot of times where it's like, man, that holding call took away the great play, but it didn't cause the great play.
Isn't this kind of different than the last time Bama came here? Last time Bama was like one of the least penalized teams in the country, weren't they? And they were just getting flags. And this time they're one of the most penalized. I think they're like 119. But yeah, it's going to be the same thing. Nobody's going to get flags against us. It's comical at this point. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think we're in for a show no matter what, and I think it's going to be either a really really bad show or a really really great one. I don't think it's just going to be like, nah.
Well, it entirely depends upon the scoreboard.
Yeah. But I really think that like our offensive line is going to step up and we're going to run the ball, or our offensive line is just going to be what it's been the past couple weeks, and we're going to be at 0 points going into the fourth quarter.
0 points going into the fourth quarter. I'm looking forward to being the worst people in section, whatever section you're in, Caleb. If that comes to pass, I'm going to say some unforgivable things. And it's just because I care.
And now, Chris, that gives me to another good point. Is like let's have ourselves a little 2 minute timeout here. And for our 2 minute timeout, not a 2 minute warning, but we're gonna have like a little 2 minute timeout. And for your 2 minute timeout, I want to hear everybody. You each get 2 minutes. I'm gonna put you on the imaginary clock right here. So you get 2 minutes to talk about what is your worst and your favorite Alabama Tennessee memory. Matt, let's start with you. 2 minutes on the clock. Best. Oh, he's coughing. Chris, we'll start with you. Chris, we'll start. Best and worst.
Worst was having a chance to win. We were there in 2009. We came back. Were we in the lead? Like it's starting to sort of fade a little bit, but the last details are very clear. When Lane gets tight end over the middle, we're in field goal position, and we're all holding each other. We're holding each other like, oh my God. And then Terrence Cody did his thing, and that stadium made like it's a sound I've never heard before. Just the spontaneous eruption. But the worst part was all the Bammers walking out, going, "Oh, boy, this was great, man. Y'all are really going to be something soon. And you enjoy your time here, and you get home safe.
Got 1 minute.
Yeah, you get home safe. That's 1 minute. Best. I mean, it seems like a cop out to say 2022, especially since I was out of pocket.
You're at a wedding, right?
No, for some reason I went to see Doug Stanhope.
I remember that. Oh,
yeah. All right.
I thought it's going to be the usual Alabama game. Very, very sad. Going to go have a nice day in Asheville. Nope.
Okay. What was your best?
I'm going to say 2003 overtime. Somehow Casey Clausen hits C.J. Phaeton. Bam. Weird game in Alabama. I think it's the first one we played at Bryant Denny, and they were usually at Legion Field. But that one is one that lingers and was very special from childhood.
Gotcha. Oh, you only went over like 10 seconds. All right, Caleb.
Okay, well, if we're being honest, the worst is 2009 as well, but I'll try to pick a different one. I don't know if it was 2011 or 2013. Just
oh boy,
I don't know. I just remember whatever year. I think it was Matt Sims came in like in the third quarter or something, like burned his red shirt to try to get momentum against Alabama. And this was in the streak of how straight years where we lost like 31-3 every single year or something like that. I mean, all those run together.
Are you thinking about the one that they took over the stadium, 50,000 of them in there?
I'm talking about when we went at Bama, like 2011 or 2008 was also that's a good one, Chris. 2008. I do remember leaving that game a few minutes early and hearing Rammer Jammer as we walked to the car. God, that was awful.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Best memory. I mean, I got to go 2022. I don't remember if we didn't have a podcast in 2022, so probably didn't tell the story. I was just like stewing that whole week about should I go to the game or not. 2-month-old at home and probably shouldn't. Been checking ticket prices furiously the whole week. Then I finally see one pop up at 2:00 on that Saturday, and I bought it. Immediately hopped in my car, forgot my cigar, went to the game, sat by myself in section A, and had a good time anyway. And then just completely like the switch flipped when they missed the field goal, and I start like climbing over the rails to get in position to rush the field if I need to. And then it all runs together. Josh Heupel gives me a tap on the chest that I didn't get on video. Just all-time great day.
Nice. And you were 3 seconds over, so good job. And Matt, 2 minutes. Best and worst. Or worst and best.
Worst, 09. I was there. I was in the band, and we were standing up because, like, oh, it's a field goal. We make these a lot of times. And they blocked it. And some Alabama fan, you know those, like, souvenir cups that, like, they sell at stadiums? They're kind of like a hard plastic. Some Alabama fan throws one of those full of Coke and hits me in the back of the head. And UTPD just, like, rushes up and just destroys this guy. Oh, man, it was beautiful. So that was the worst. Thank you, UTPD. The best, probably, I'm going 2005 game, 6-3. Alabama later vacated it, so yeah.
I was hoping you would say it.
I think the 6-3 game popped in my head. I didn't know what year it was. But I think for me, here's one interesting thing. I don't know if this is considered best or worst, but it was like the most impactful. I don't know if I've shared this or not, but I think my first ever game inside of Neyland was Tennessee, Alabama. And again, I don't know what year it was. I just remember that Brody Quarrell was the quarterback. So was it like
Troy.
2002, 3, 4, 5, something like that?
I think he was around then.
And there's
and this was pre instant replay, and I just remember like we're chasing him. He runs out the pocket, and we sack him. But when we sack him, he's got one knee clearly on the ground, and he throws it.
Yeah.
And he has a pretty good pass play. I think to maybe was it Sean Alexander? Maybe I don't know, but he throws it. He throws it to somebody, and it's a great play. But either way, we show it on the jumbotron, and like his knee is clearly on the ground as he's like rearing up to throw. And the stadium just goes bonkers with boos, and it's like I'm sitting on the upper deck, and I literally thought like the stadium was going to collapse because it was just shaking from the boos. And I just thought that was like again, I just think that was the most impactful memory that I had. And then for my worst memory, for sure, I think best obviously 2022. I was here in my room right here. And just watching it, and I just remember what I like. The game was great, obviously, but the CBS staying with the after scenes and just doing that like sky cam over our crowd for the there you go in the background. That was just amazing. And we're listening to post game shows. I had a cigar in my apartment, all that kind of stuff. It was great. But I would say my worst overall experiences is just like the really, really down years of Dooley, Book, and Pruitt, where we just like going into the game, we just knew there's absolutely no chance at all.
No, that's the problem. Is we talked ourselves into this is the year we got a chance, we got a shot.
I was just like, look, there's like literally the only thing I'm trying to talk us into is can we lose? Can we look good in a loss?
What was the year that Kiffin came back here for the first time and we're like, oh, he's pissed us off. We're going to win. And they scored on like the first play, like a 75-yard touchdown pass or something, like a screen pass.
I'm just glad that those years are over where we can actually just say like, we're actually having a podcast right now talking about legitimately we can win, and in some areas we should win. Just imagine that. Like, could you imagine us talking about the Tennessee-Alabama game in a way that, hey, we could win this game and we should win, and we're not crazy?
I can't imagine it because we are.
Yeah,
It's very nice.
I just
Tonight's not treating Alabama like a bye week is how I treated it for a decade, more or less.
I just know next week we're gonna regret all of this.
Oh yeah,
no. I mean, but what I'm saying is like there's legit reasons now to think like we can win this game, and for years we never really thought that.
And there's plenty on tape out there from this season that says that we can get our asses beat.
No, yeah, yeah, that definitely can happen. I'm just saying like
Oh
those years
God!
with Butch and Dooley and Pruitt, we just knew we weren't winning. We just knew it. Like we would lie to ourselves when we were like, "Yeah, we got a chance."
we
I
have never
wasn't
had.
lying.
Yeah,
Yeah, you were.
never had an Alabama come in that's lost to Vandy in our lifetimes.
That's a good point.
I did like I saw some like graphic someone posted where it's like Ryan Williams becomes the first ever 17-year-old in college football history to lose to Vanderbilt.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's very nice.
yeah. But anyway,
I am
I
looking
doubt
forward.
that.
To
You
what,
think?
Matt?
You think some early 1900s Vandy loss was 17-year-olds back then?
don't ruin the joke.
Okay, I won't.
All right. We're winding down. We see the runway. We're bringing it down to a nice little landing. So let's wrap this part up and say any final thoughts on the Alabama game this weekend, or just the Alabama series as a whole.
Can I get my H3 Productions pick to click for the week?
Yeah, in just a minute. Just a minute.
Okay. Sorry. What was your question?
Just any final thoughts on this? Any
Oh.
final thoughts on this game in general, or the series in general?
If you're a Bama fan, you suck. Stop claiming national championships that are bogus. If you're a Tennessee fan, be a good one, not a bad one. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. My final thought is this is the first year I can remember that the Alabama fans themselves are kind of a little bit scared of this game. Like in the years past, they have always thought they were going to win because they were, and 2022, I think they still thought they were going to win. This year, like since they lost to Vandy, I don't know. I feel like I just get the sense they're a little bit scared for the first time in 2 decades.
That's a good point. Chris?
I think this game is the difference between 9 and 10 wins and wins.
I don't
I
know.
wouldn't go that low, but I agree. We lose this game by playoffs.
Oh yeah, and I do like that we're heading in. This is a playoff elimination game for both teams. Whoever loses is definitely out of the playoff. But on the flip side of that is we come out of this game Saturday night with a W. We're right back in the playoff picture, which is crazy to think about.
Why?
Yeah.
Who we beat?
It's just record.
We beat Alabama. Oh, but they lost to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, but it just is what it is.
Never ends. It never ends with us.
Will we pass them in the polls if we win?
Yeah.
Phenomenal question.
Unimpressive home win.
Or will the
in
quality
SEC.
loss?
Quality
Minus
loss.
3.
Lost to Alabama in the top 5.
Yeah, I think I said it a couple weeks ago on the podcast where I was like, it just feels like this might be a year where we could win the national championship, and then the entire narrative is like, well, we don't really know how good Tennessee really is as a national championship team because all of college football's down.
That is exactly what they said about us when we did win a national championship.
Yeah.
It was a year very much like this, save for the losing.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like this game is going to be it's going to be what it is going to be, and I just think that we're going to win. I think we're going to win. So that's my final shot. Is I think we're going to win. So before we break down the other ball games of the week as we end, Let's go pick to click and your final score predictions. Chris, we'll kick it off with you.
Pick to click. Nico Iamaliava.
Score?
Score.
Wow.
24 to 20 Tennessee.
24 to 20. Okay. And just out of curiosity, what is your definition of Nico picking to clicking?
And scoring 24 points.
Like,
and
is he gonna like have 6 completions or something?
It is a relative term in this particular instance.
Throws a pick, strips.
I think that he manages well enough and figures some things out to where we win the game and feel comfortable going forward.
Gotcha. All right, Matt, what's your pick to click and your final score?
My pick to click, of course, is going to be Tennessee fans, and the final score is going to be 2-0 because Tennessee fans are going to be so loud that Bama's just going to get a bunch of delay of games and false starts, and it's going to be enough for our defense to get a safety. So,
and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we call him Matt Straight Answers from Halls, because he gives you nothing but straight answers.
They do call me that.
All right, Caleb.
All right, my pick to click is Chaz Nimrod. I will say,
come on. Why do we do this to ourselves every week?
we have to pick one according to the rules. So I'm going Chaz because he did seem to be open some last week.
So
Just happened to drop it, but he was one of the only ones who was open. So I'm hoping he hits the jugs this week. And my final score, I'm going to say 31 to 27 Alabama.
Nice.
31 to what?
27.
Oh, okay. That'll be heartbreaking. How about you, Kyle?
Yeah.
I'll be devastated.
Man, I think my pick to click is going to be I'll say this. I don't think he's going to get hurt for long term. I think he's just going to get banged up, and he's going to get banged up and just miss a few series. Dylan Sampson. And Bishop is going to come in and surprise us, and he's going to get some good run. So back up Bishop.
I saw that Seldon's back on the injury report. Like, what? Yeah. What is going on with that guy?
I don't know. And then my final score, I will say 27-17 Tennessee.
Whoa. Money bags.
27-17 Vols.
Chris, did you pick Bama or Tennessee? I forget. You picked
I
Bama.
picked us.
Oh, you did. Okay, that's right.
Yeah. So, all right, boys, that wraps up the Alabama stuff. Do we want to go over the college football slate or not, or just talk about anything else that's coming up this weekend?
I just want to go over the play at the end of Oregon Ohio State, where Oregon intentionally put 12 people on the field.
Oh,
one of the greatest things I've ever seen in college football. Like, love that.
And they changed the rule today.
Did they actually?
Yeah.
I saw they were talking about it, but come on.
Yeah, the NCAA posted, I guess, like this afternoon, they changed it.
Good for them. Or good for the coach that made them do it.
Yeah.
It's got to be a nice little notch on the belt.
Anything else we're looking at?
We need Texas to hammer Georgia. Texas is straight shot for the playoff, and Georgia could slide into marginal territory. So I hope they beat the hell out of them.
Need Ole Miss to get another quality loss to secure their playoff spot. They're doing a good job so far. Caleb, can you defend your SP Plus for a second? What's the deal with Ole Miss?
I think they've had close losses and destroyed the bad teams they played, so their numbers look pretty good.
I mean, we lost by 5 to Arkansas on the road.
I think we're pretty highly ranked, aren't we? Where are we? I mean, we're up there.
I forget.
Yeah, I think you know, we're at 5-1. It's not the 5-1 we expected, but we're at 5-1, and win this week, and we're bowl eligible.
That's true, isn't
Warms the heart.
it? Yeah, Music City or Liberty?
Already
Where are we
think-
going this
You
year?
remember when the 6 wins was a big deal?
Yeah, it's making me think of those Tampa breezes and doing as we pleases.
No, I think I also just want us to win just to kind of get us back in the national picture, just so I can start caring about the other national games. So
I don't disagree with you, Kyle.
all right. Well, any final thoughts on the podcast today?
I'll just say, ever since Helene, there's been a little less electricity in the mountains, but it's still Tennessee, Bama. There's still some fire in the gut, so let's go.
Chris?
Jesus Christ! Oh my God! All right, go somebody.
Chris, what's your final thoughts?
I can't wait to do the 2-minute memory section for the UTEP game.
We play. Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah. I think for me, I think we need to end the podcast with Matt. So I'm going to go ahead. I think my final thought is third Saturday in October always been important. I mean, it's always fallen on my birthday week, so it's always like my birthday has always kind of been, in the '90s, like, hey, it's Alabama, Tennessee, we're going to win, obviously. And then we went through that stretch where, oh, it's my birthday, we're playing Alabama. Dang, that just makes my birthday suck a little bit. So I'm just happy to be in this birthday week now where it's like, hey, we actually have a chance to win and make it even a better birthday. So shout out to God for giving me the 2022 win. That was really cool of him. So thank you for the Alabama hate week. That's my final thought. Matt, close us out.
Shit, I had a whole bunch of stuff and now I can't remember. If you're a Tennessee fan, get your priorities straight. Go tell happy birthday to Kyle. Good old Rocky blog. Check it out. Chris got something great up there this week. And Dixieland Delight is a song about Tennessee. Go to hell, Alabama.